Hello and welcome to UC Today. My name is Kieran and today's session is celebrating a momentous Microsoft Ignite. I am delighted to be joined by Satish W, MVP, Microsoft 365 UC Architect at Microsoft. Satish, thanks for joining us.
Yeah. Thank you, Karen. Thank you for having me here.
And just before we dive into this year's Ignite, can you please tell us a bit about yourself, Satish, and the work you do with Microsoft?
So I work at Softel, not at Microsoft, as a Microsoft 365 architect supporting different Microsoft Teams telephony services. Apart from that, I have also started helping customers in rolling out their Teams Premium and also Microsoft 365 Copilot as well. So I'm doing a lot of workshops around Microsoft 365 Copilot, helping the customers understand the value what Copilot brings to the table.
Perfect. Well, I think it's been a very exciting Ignite for Copilot and Teams. So I'm actually on that latter issue. Shall we, before we jump into some of the specific announcements, what Teams announcements do you think were the most significant at this year's Ignite?
So there were many announcements which was made for Teams, specifically like shared calling went global. So it went generally available as well. There were a lot of announcement around click to call. So telephony announcements were big. There were features around like announcement of the operator connect services in India, although it was announced in build, but then that went GA as well. So that there were those announcements, and then from the meeting room perspective, one of the critical one was the announcement of Teams room devices below $1,000. So that was something, and then lastly, bring your own devices and shared devices was another one that has more relevance for customers who are trying to bring your own devices to meeting room space.
Perfect. And expanding it out a bit, and we'll touch on Copilot and Gen AI very soon. But firstly, what were some of the broader Microsoft Ignite announcements that most caught your eye, and why was that?
Um, It was expected that Microsoft Ignite would have or would have the same theme that it had or build, would be more around Copilot, and Copilot services. The most one of the critical thing that was rebranded. Not sure who did it, but Bing Chat Enterprise was rebranded as Copilot, adding more confusion for people understanding the Copilot services and then the naming convention. So that was one thing. Again, the Power Automate and the Power Virtual Agents was rebranded as the Copilot Studio. Copilot Studio is more around the developers who would be able to build up new bots, new chat services, so that uh, the communication works completely integrated with the Copilot, which Microsoft has and been providing to different customers in the early access program. One of the critical or one of the most important announcement which was missed, which everyone, not only in the community but also the customers were expecting, was the announcement of Copilot for SMB, SMC, and the CSP announcement, where CSP partners would be able to sell out the Copilot licenses. So that was something that was missed, or that was not announced. But those announcements are coming in the Q1 of next year. Microsoft has already started the listing down of 300 customers who would also be a part of the early access program for SMB and SMC for Copilot with reduced number of licenses. Because if you know right now, currently the licenses limit is 300. Minimum number of licenses are required for Copilot. But then once that announcement comes in early Q1 or Q2, we'll have the licenses requirement reduced as well for the SMB and SMC customers.
Yeah, yeah, I think that's quite an exciting time when those SME maybe felt a little left out, but they must be having that arrive so soon. I imagine even the most optimistic SME customers were at some point in 2024 arrive for them. But yeah, that must be a really exciting to have it just around the corner. And In terms of the Copilot stuff, if we can stick to this topic, I think it's really interesting. From your expertise, what demand are you seeing in the market for Copilot at the moment, and where do you expect it to be most prominently used at this stage?
Right now, the more predominant requirement that we have been seeing is more around the Microsoft 365 Copilot. We have a lot of security Copilot, we have Viva Copilots, which was announced as well at the Ignite, but more around Microsoft 365 Copilot is what we are seeing a demand in, because you can use it in Teams, you can use it in Word, Excel, Outlook as well. So the 365 Copilot is something really critical. A lot of features that it provides more in Teams on the fly. In Teams, you can use it to do a sentiment analysis when you are on the call. You One of the another announcement that was made for Teams was that you don't need to do a recording or transcription for having Copilot to work in the background. This was one of the most critical feature for customers who don't wanted to enable those transcription features on their tenant, so that everyone starts recording those transcripts for Copilot to work. So that's one thing which Microsoft made. I was at the Microsoft Modern Work booth supporting the Microsoft Teams product group, helping the customers out. People were more interested what the Copilot is in Teams phone, what things it's bringing onto the Teams phone announcement that was made. So 365 Copilot is something that every customer is looking for. On the enterprise side, as we know, Microsoft has already touched 100K customers, or the 100K users that are actively using it on the Copilot side.
Perfect. And maybe going to a different aspect to it, I thought it was really interesting that immersive spaces, which has been this big capability that Microsoft have teased for a while now, it's finally coming to Teams in January. And I'm really interested to see how this will land with customers. Do you think this could maybe begin the real start of VR becoming mainstream in the collaboration space?
So, absolutely, the mesh the announcement that Satya made during the keynote is really critical, because with mesh, Microsoft has also partnered with Meta on their Quest devices, because cost perspective, the HoloLens is a bit on the expensive side. So that's the reason why Meta Quest devices, and we also had a Meta booth at Ignite, where you had the same immersive experience that you would be seeing in your meetings was replicated. And then Meta also brought in they have got Ray-Ban specs as well, where it can record your calls, you can take your calls, all those things. And we were just querying them that when would we add Copilot to that the Ray-Ban devices, because that would make things more easier for anyone who is on the that's on the travel, to join those calls as well.
Perfect. And one final question before I let you go, Satish. What was your biggest takeaway from the event?
From the event perspective, customers were happy around. There were a lot of things that happened very well at the event. One was the Copilot announcement, the studio announcement for developers that would allow customers to, or the developer teams, to do a lot of development in house internally. Then a lot of customers were also able to do hands-on experience and labs at the event. That was really critical for them to understand how things would be working before those things are rolled out in their enterprise environment. So that was the other biggest thing for them. That's it. Nothing specific more.
Well, that's perfect. That's a great way to end it. Yeah. So thank you to Satish for being here today. It's been a really good session.
Thank you.
And if you enjoyed this video, please give us a like and share on social media, and we'll see you next time. I've been Kieran Devlin of UC Today. Thanks for watching.